So as I promised, I'm gonna answer some of your questions today. And the first question is, how do we attract female-led relationship and find her? What's the signs or tricks? So I guess that's asked by a man. Yeah, how to find a female-led relationship. And that's the thing. It is as hard as finding any kind of good romantic relationship. There is no some formula, and there are people who tell you that they know how to do it, but I don't think that it's only about the steps. I don't think that it's just about determining what you want, even being clear about what you want, having some certain standards and following what you want and rejecting what you don't want. It's not just that. I always think that it's, well, a bit of luck. Because it's hard. It's hard to find a relationship. It's hard to find any good relationship, especially female-led relationship. So when you think about it, I want you to have it in mind. Why do you want this type of relationship? Yeah, what are the benefits for you? First of all, you have to determine that. Because you enter the relationship for give and take situation. Yeah, you satisfy your needs while also satisfying the needs of the other person. Just the main rule of any, let's say, healthy relationship is that the needs of your partner are as important as your needs. Yeah, and that's another tricky thing. When you want a female-led relationship, there are not so many women who are aware of that. Yeah, what is that? And when you tell a woman that you are a submissive man, she can think that you are a pervert. She can think that you're just a passive man. Yeah, maybe she watched some adult movies about it. Yeah, maybe she... I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe she heard something about it. But you don't necessarily find all women who are aware, who know what it's like, who know everything about female-led relationship. Of course, you would be lucky if you meet someone who's also into that. But the chances are not that big unless you're searching some specific places. Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend any websites like FetLife because I didn't have good experience there. Yeah, these are mostly... Well, actually, if you're looking for a woman, maybe it wouldn't be as bad as a woman looking for a man on FetLife. Yeah, but again, I can't recommend you that because I didn't have a good experience. But you may try. Yeah, you never know where you're gonna find it. I know lots of examples of people who are in female-led relationship, and the way they found each other wasn't the kink scene. Some of them found each other in the kink scene. Some didn't. So yeah, that's about the intention, but there's no guarantee that it's gonna happen anytime soon. And I know that it sounds sad, but just don't want you to be delusional. Just want you to understand that just because you know what you want, this is something that's gonna happen. Yeah, you have to prepare yourself. Yeah, that it can happen any day of your life. You can meet this woman. But just imagine for a second that it never happens. What you gonna do with your life? You're gonna have a miserable life? I hope no. I hope you have other things to do. Can I buy your shoes? No, not really. I imagine that I could sell it to someone who I know, with whom we have already some established connection, or someone who lives nearby. But sending my shoes to a stranger, I'm lazy, okay? The only reason why I don't do this stuff, because I can't imagine making all this effort, going to the post office, packing, sending. No, that's too much for me. The next question. I'm obsessed with being a slave for a woman and bowing down to kiss her feet as foreplay. Is this normal? Yes, it is normal. That's it. It is very, very normal. In fact, I think when I encounter a man who doesn't do these things, I find him strange. You're not into my feet. You're not into any part of my body. Weird. Why are you so beautiful, goddess? Well, genetics. I'm Russian. Would you cuckold your boyfriend? If he was into that, then yes, of course. How tall are you, goddess? I'm 173 centimeters. How can a man from abroad serve you if he has less or no money? He can't. Don't be delusional. You can't serve me. Should I ask if my wife is okay with my submission, or should I just do it? Do what? How do you express your submission? You know, I always find it sad that people who are in a relationship can't communicate openly. The sun is too bright. I thought I would sit in front of the window, but like the sun is too bright because I have very sensitive eyes. Okay, I'm gonna look down. So, in the relationship where you can't really discuss things, can you even be happy? I mean, that's the thing you have to work on, yeah? Like, you're asking me if you should ask your wife, but you have to ask yourself, why can't you just go and ask your wife? Even this question, go and talk to your wife and ask her, should I ask you or should I just do? What do you prefer? That's the type of relationship that I consider normal. Let's assume that this is your baseline. Yeah, this is where you start. You don't know. You're confused. So first of all, I would determine how would you express your submission. Are you just waiting for her to do something to you? Then no, it's not going to happen. Are you going to act all weak, obedient, and again, expect her to be in charge? It's not going to work, especially if she's not familiar with all this scene, with all these dynamics, yeah? So I think that's on you. When men want their wife or girlfriend to be dominant, that's on them. And I already mentioned that 100 million times, yeah, that it's up to you. It's up to you to show her that she can be treated like a queen. It's not you being entitled for her some like certain type of behavior. Your submission starts with you. Your submission has to have a purpose, and the purpose is to please her. And eventually she will get used to it. But I wish you had this open communication with your wife, and I wish you could talk to her and just tell her what you want without asking someone online, without someone telling you how to manipulate your wife, without any kind of tricks. In a good, healthy relationship, you don't need that. The only thing that you need is open communication. However, I understand that we don't live in the perfect world, yeah? We don't have all this like understanding partners, because maybe you are, but maybe that's like she's the problem, yeah? And I just always tend to think that these are men who are the problem, yeah? But again, my views are also flawed, and that's fine, yeah? Maybe your wife is someone who would be against any new ideas just based on some kind of stereotypes, yeah? So in this case, well, maybe you could be a little bit not as direct, or direct, but choose what to be direct about. Yeah, I would say that start with treating her like a queen. You have to learn what she likes, and I hope that you know it already, because she's your wife. Treat her with respect, with reverence, and make sure that she gets conditioned to expect that. And she will expect that, because we get used to anything. This is human's nature. We get used to both bad and good things. And when you get used to good things, you see them as normal. And then you feel entitled to them because they happen to you. Yeah, you didn't do anything. You start taking them for granted. And then if one day she wouldn't get what you've been providing, she would probably require it. She would be confused, or maybe even mad. I guess that's what you want. Do you agree with Russia's aims in Ukraine? No, I disagree with Russia's aims in Ukraine. However, I know why, and I understand why they do what they do. And that's the thing that I do. Go away. I do not choose the side based on politics and based on presidents and governments. I stand with people. Anyone who suffers. Like, people are not supposed to go through this. If I talk about politics, if I talk about the reasons why it happens, well, imagine if Russia put their labs, had their military trainings on the territory of Mexico, close to the border with the US. How would they react? How would the US react? That's the question, when you think about why Russia attacked Ukraine. Russia does not have the war with Ukraine. That's on the territory of Ukraine. Russia has the war with the US, and the US has the war with Russia. And unfortunately, innocent people are suffering just because of some political games. Even if I do not support Putin and Russian government, I do not support this fly that is so annoying. I also do not support the left side. Zelensky, Biden. If they wanted to stop the war, they would have stopped it before it began. It wasn't supposed to begin. You've been poking the bear, and the bear reacted. And when I say this, there is a part of me that gets kind of proud, because I am Russian. I can't detach myself from it. But there was a reason why I left. Because I don't support the government. I don't support the actions of the government. And now it's an interesting question, because the West is tired. I mean, especially Americans are so tired of paying for the war, of lies, of propaganda. And now, especially after they watched the interview with Putin and Tucker Carlson, they glorify Putin. Because Putin looks good in comparison to Zelensky and Biden. They are politicians. He looks good. He looks intelligent. However, they don't know the situation inside the country. They don't know how Russians live. Some of that they can see on their screen now, or like with their, independent media, but not everything is true. You just see what you're shown. You never have a clear picture. And I think that at this point, you can have any kind of opinion. And after all, it doesn't matter much. There are some processes that are happening, and you can only look from the outside. This is not something you can control. This is not something you can have an effect on, despite of the general opinion of people, that it's like, especially Democrats, that's like, it's up to people, that's like, the more you protest, the more effect it has. I don't think so. These are the games of politicians, and unfortunately, it's up to them. I know that maybe it sounds like disempowered, maybe it sounds, for some of you, ignorant, but from my perspective, and I'm always like, initially, I'm someone who, like, I need to fight, I need to speak up, I need to say something, I need to do something. Then at some moment you just have to come down and understand that there are things you can't change. Seduction. Is that a question? Like, what do you want to ask? Seduction is when you make someone do something they already wanted to do. That's pretty much it. Okay, the next question is interesting. Well, I really want to get rid of my cock and tell this to my wife. So do you want to get rid of your penis, and then when you have like this place flat, so you go to your wife and tell her, Or do you want to tell your wife that you want to get rid of your cock? I'm a bit confused. Okay, let's just look at the desire to get rid of your penis. You have to sit with this. You have to think about it. And now, when I answer such questions, I want to remind you that I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not licensed. I just share my opinion. My advice is based on just my personal views. So anyway, let's look at this desire of yours. And probably that's some kind of obsessive desire if you even ask the question about it. So you want to get rid of your cock. Please think, what does your penis represent to you? Is it the embodiment of toxic masculinity, and so hence it's so bad, it disgusts you? Or maybe because you feel like you don't deserve any pleasure or you don't deserve to procreate? What does your penis represent for you? That you are so inferior that you can't use it. You are not supposed to use it. Maybe because sexual pleasure and procreation is for some other better males. And again, I don't want to look at this as a fetish. I don't want you to get aroused by it. I don't want you to sexualize it. I just want you to sit with these thoughts and these feelings that come when you think about it. Actually, I would recommend you to fully undress yourself and to look at yourself. Look down and think, ask all these questions. Then think how would you get rid of it? Would you chop it off? Would you put a rubber band? That's not an instruction, I'm just asking you, because when you have some obsessive thought, you have to go deeper sometimes. Again, deeper doesn't mean doing anything. You do not respond with action. You do it through self-awareness and also conscious. Well, this is probably CBT work, cognitive behavioral therapy. Think about it. First of all, what it represents, Then, again, as I said, if you want to get rid of it, how would you do that? You have to exaggerate these thoughts. You have to go deeper into these thoughts and to think how exactly you would do that, what method you would choose, and what happens next. So you come to your wife, and you don't have a penis. How is she going to react? Is she going to be upset? Is she going to shout at you? She will get mad? Or maybe she will get happy? Or maybe she will laugh? What kind of reaction is she going to have? Then think, besides your wife, who else would react? Whose reaction would you imagine besides your wife's? Is that your mother? Is that some other female relative? Who wants you to get rid of your cock? This is how you work with most disturbing fetishes. Instead of sexualizing them, instead of just getting into them nonstop, you have to do a self-therapy work. You actually don't need a therapist for this. That's self-work. You can do it by yourself.